Welcome to the journey of Detroit, a city with a tale as dynamic as the machines it once built. Our story begins in the early 18th century, nestled on the banks of the Detroit River. A modest French settlement known as Fort Pontchartrain du Detroit sprouted in 1701, marking the humble beginnings of what would become the mighty Detroit. As the 19th century rolled around, the city experienced a growth spurt. Its strategic location on the river made it a prime spot for the fur trade, transforming this once quiet settlement into a bustling hub of commerce. This was just the start of Detroit's ascent. Moving into the 20th century, a new invention was about to drive Detroit into an era of unprecedented prosperity. The automobile was revolutionizing transportation, and one man, Henry Ford, was at the helm. With the introduction of the Model T in 1908, Ford put Detroit on the global map, turning the city into the epicenter of the automobile industry. This was the dawn of the Motor City. Ford's innovative assembly line made cars more affordable, attracting a flurry of workers seeking employment. The population skyrocketed, and by 1920, Detroit had become the fourth largest city in the United States. It was a city humming with industry and innovation, a place where dreams were forged in steel and powered by gasoline. Detroit was not just producing cars, it was shaping the world. It was a city of pioneers, of trailblazers who dared to dream and had the audacity to make those dreams a reality. It was a city that embodied the spirit of progress, of moving forward, of never standing still. The roar of the factories was the heartbeat of the city, a testament to its indomitable spirit. Detroit, the city of dreams, had made its mark as the heart of America's automobile industry. But with great heights come great falls. As we'll see, the journey of Detroit is a roller coaster ride, a story of resilience in the face of adversity. So buckle up and stay tuned as we delve deeper into the tale of this incredible city. As Detroit's glory days of the 1920s faded, a series of unfortunate events began to unfold. The Great Depression, which swept across America in the 1930s, left no city untouched. Detroit, once the heartbeat of American industry and innovation, was no exception. The city, heavily reliant on the auto industry, was hit hard as demand for cars plummeted, factories closed, jobs disappeared, and the city's economy came to a grinding halt. But the economic downturn was just a prelude to more profound issues. Racial tensions simmering beneath the surface exploded into public view. In 1943, the Detroit race riot erupted, fueled by racial discrimination and economic hardship. For 3 days, the city was consumed by violence, leaving 34 dead and hundreds injured. The unrest did not end there. 2 decades later, in the long, hot summer of 1967, the city was once again engulfed in flames. The Detroit riot, sparked by police brutality against the African American community, was one of the most devastating in U.S. history. Over 40 people were killed. Thousands were arrested, and entire neighborhoods were reduced to ashes. Meanwhile, the city's lifeblood, the auto industry, was in decline. Foreign competition, labor disputes, and a series of poor business decisions led to a sharp drop in profits. Job losses mounted, and Detroit's population, once over 1.5 million at its peak, began to dwindle. The city's tax base eroded, public services were cut, and a cycle of decline set in. Neighborhoods emptied, businesses shuttered, and the city that once symbolized the American dream became a symbol of urban decay. The city's economy, once vibrant and diverse, became a one-note song of struggle and hardship. The Motor City, the arsenal of democracy, was on its knees. By the end of the 20th century, Detroit was a shell of its former self, a city in decline. But as we'll see, Detroit is a city of resilience, a city determined to rise from the ashes and reclaim its place in the American narrative. For now, though, we must delve deeper into the dark days of Detroit's history. Stay tuned as we explore the next chapter in Detroit's tumultuous journey. In the early 21st century, Detroit faced its darkest hour. It was a time of despair, a time when the city's once gleaming image was overshadowed by a cloud of economic uncertainty. The city, once a beacon of industrial might and prosperity, was now grappling with a financial crisis of unprecedented magnitude. The decision to file for bankruptcy in 2013 wasn't taken lightly. Detroit had the unfortunate distinction of being the largest city in United States history to do so. It was a pivotal moment, a desperate measure to confront a problem that had been festering for years. Now, let's delve deeper into the factors that led to this dire situation. A combination of financial mismanagement, corruption, and a crippling debt had brought the city to its knees. The city's coffers were draining faster than they were being replenished, a consequence of years of fiscal irresponsibility. Mismanagement was rampant, with funds often being allocated without proper oversight or accountability. This, coupled with rampant corruption, created a toxic environment that stifled growth and plunged the city into deeper debt. The city's liabilities were skyrocketing, reaching a staggering $18 billion. That's billion with a B. The city was under an immense burden, a burden so heavy that it threatened to crush the very spirit of Detroit. Services were slashed, pensions were cut, and the people of Detroit were left to grapple with the harsh realities of a city in decline. But, as they say, it's always darkest before the dawn. The decision to declare bankruptcy, although painful, marked the beginning of a new chapter. It was an opportunity to hit the reset button, to wipe the slate clean and start afresh. Bankruptcy, a word that shook the foundations of Detroit, but it was also a turning point. It was a wake-up call, a chance for the city to rise from the ashes, to learn from its past mistakes and rebuild itself stronger and more resilient than ever before. From the ashes of bankruptcy, Detroit began its arduous journey towards renewal. Emerging from the shadows of financial ruin, the city of Detroit had a formidable challenge ahead. It had to reinvent itself. The task was Herculean, but the spirit of Detroiters was indomitable. The city, once a symbol of American industrial might, was ready to rise again. The revival began with a renewed focus on its downtown area. Private investors and public entities poured resources into the heart of the city. Abandoned buildings were transformed into bustling hubs of commerce and community. The downtown area, once a symbol of decline, was now a beacon of hope and renewal. Next, Detroit returned to its roots, the auto industry. This time, though, it wasn't just about churning out cars. Detroit became a hub for electric vehicles and autonomous technology, attracting tech giants and startups alike. The city was once again at the forefront of the auto industry, but now it was leading the charge into the future. But Detroit's rebirth wasn't solely due to its automotive resurgence. The city also saw significant growth in other sectors. The technology and healthcare industries flourished, creating jobs and infusing the city with a new sense of vitality. Detroit was diversifying its economy, proving it was more than just the Motor City. Tourism, too, saw a significant increase. Visitors flocked to the city to sample its vibrant food scene, explore its rich history, and experience its diverse cultural offerings. The city's art scene thrived, its music scene pulsed with energy, and its sports teams rallied the city. Detroit was not just rebounding, it was flourishing. Perhaps most importantly, the city's cultural resurgence was in full swing. Detroit's unique spirit, its resilience, and its rich history were being celebrated and embraced. The city's people were reclaiming their narrative, rewriting their story, and redefining what it meant to be a Detroiter. Like a phoenix, Detroit was rising once more. The rebirth of Detroit was not just about economic recovery or urban renewal. It was about a city and its people finding their identity, their strength, and their place in the world once again. Today, Detroit stands not as a city of the past, but as a city of the future. A city that's been through the mill, Detroit has faced and continues to grapple with a number of challenges. There's the ongoing issue of population decline, with the city's inhabitants dwindling from a peak of nearly 2 million in the 50s to just over 600,000 today. Yet, despite these hurdles, there's an undeniable resilience that courses through the veins of Detroit. The city is not just surviving, it's beginning to thrive again. From the ashes of its tumultuous past, Detroit is rising, and it's the city's spirit of can-do that is propelling its resurgence. In recent years, there's been a concerted effort to rejuvenate Detroit. Dilapidated buildings are being repurposed, with old factories transformed into modern lofts and office spaces. The city's downtown area is buzzing again, with new businesses, restaurants, and boutiques sprouting up. Innovation is taking center stage, with Detroit becoming a hub for technology and sustainable solutions. The city's automobile industry, too, is adapting to the times, with electric and autonomous vehicles being developed right here in the heart of the Motor City. Looking ahead, Detroit's future is filled with optimism. The city's leaders and its people are committed to charting a new course, one that's inclusive and sustainable. There's a recognition that the road ahead is long and winding, but there's confidence in the journey. Detroit's story is one of rise, fall, and rise again. It's a story that's far from over, with new chapters being written every day. The city's past has taught us that Detroit is nothing if not resilient, and its present shows us that this resilience is not just about bouncing back, but about moving forward, evolving, and innovating. A testament to the city's indomitable spirit, Detroit continues to drive forward, proving it truly is the Motor City.